All right, we want to welcome everybody to this episode of New Life Outreach Unchained podcast. As you guys can see, Josh isn't here with us, but we do have a special guest. Assistant Pastor Aaron Walker is here with us. And fellas, how's your y'all's day been?
It's been pretty good. Work was a little bit hot, but we kind of got everything done in the morning and took it easy in the afternoon. So not a bad day. Good to be here tonight with you.
It's been a good day. It's been a busy day at work for me. Yeah. They've had a lot of changes at work, so new charting system. So it's been pretty rough for the first part of the day, but it got better as the day went. We've been camping or getting ready to camp, so we've been setting up campers and sweating, hot. But I'm glad I'm here, Shane.
Good. Glad you guys are here with us. Definitely excited to have Aaron on here. It's been a long time coming. I know we wanted to have him on here for a while, but definitely fitting for him to be here on this podcast with us because tonight we are getting into the second part of our 5-part podcast here on the fivefold ministry, and we're going to be talking about pastors tonight. Mm-hmm. So it's Taylor's not with us tonight, but we are going to have him on our next one. Probably next one we'll be talking about teachers, and I couldn't think of a better person to have on that one as Taylor. So
Tyler.
Tyler, as I like to call him.
He on vacation.
Yeah, he's out there soaking up the sun.
He sent me pictures, all the good things and fun things that he's done. Some big waterfall that he sent me.
Yeah,
we've had a blast.
He probably don't want to be here with us anyways.
Oh no, he missed a good service.
Oh yes, he did. And I that's one thing I wanted to start off with. So I mean, if you guys are watching and you haven't had a chance to. If you wasn't with us Sunday morning, or if you haven't had a chance to go back and watch it, definitely get on our Facebook page and go watch our last sermon there with Pastor Gabe, Church on Fire, because, man, it was on fire.
It was.
And I think that what we're talking about tonight is one of the reasons why we can have a service like that is because I know Taylor's not with us here, but we got 3 pastors that are fully committed 100% to working 100% under God's leadership. Yeah. And I think that's when you have people that let you fully lead by God, you get to have services like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. You do. I'll say this too, man, when it comes to that, as pastors, you can tell when you're not right as far as leading the church, because it won't be going right. It won't be running right. And so, I think we do a pretty good job of just letting. I had a guy get a hold of me today. He was talking about, he had shared our service from last night, and he was talking about, he said, Gabe Smith's a good leader. Wish there's more people like him. But when I commented on it, I was like, I just listen to him. Yeah. That's the reason. It ain't nothing me. I'm just listening. And then just doing what he's telling us to do, so, yeah.
I think, too, that the pastors trust the congregation.
Yeah.
We get different individuals lead service and let them be part of the service. And I think whenever the people know that the pastors trust them with full backing behind them, that's why you have services like that.
Yeah.
Because the trust is there also in the leadership back to the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because if it's okay with you, we'll get right into it. Cause,
we sound like we already are.
One of the first questions I had, I've been in church my whole life, and I've sat under many pastors, but I have never had pastors like you and Aaron and Taylor who really poured into me. Not just me, the congregation, like I said, if you watch the service, you'll see, at the end of the service, pastor had different ministries come up. Mm-hmm. And by the time he was done calling out these ministries, you look back in the congregation, I would probably say 95% of the church was up front in some sort of ministry.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you guys for, pouring into me, pouring into the congregation, helping us to step out into what we're called into, things that we never seen for ourselves. Mm-hmm. I never pictured myself doing this. Definitely never pictured myself becoming a deacon. Yeah. So, it's because of you guys, that our church is thriving and you just being obedient. So my first question is, as a pastor, when God calls or when God shows you a calling on someone's life, how important is it for you to tell that person what God has shown you about them? And how does this help you and the church?
It's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think whenever God points out somebody's calling to a pastor, he's telling the pastor, I've got a spot that needs to be filled.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody else, it can't be this guy, it can't be this lady. The guy he points out to you has got to fill that spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he does that because there's a need there that only that person can do. As far as encouraging, which I do believe is very important, me and Aaron, we was raised that way.
Yeah.
We're really just doing
What we was taught.
What we was taught by our pastor, which is my grandfather. He was probably one of the best preachers in this country, but he would rather have a young preacher get up and preach than himself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you just don't see that. You don't see that amongst a lot of churches today. A lot of churches just the pastor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But we talked about this before, Shane. If you eat the same steak every Sunday, you just get tired of it. Yeah. You know, could I preach every Sunday? Could Aaron preach every Sunday? Well, sure we could, but it ain't going to be profitable in the growth of a church. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because you've got to get other people involved, get them working.
It's just almost like whenever you played sports, you know, second team and third string was just as important as the person starting.
Absolutely.
So every individual on the team are important, even if you're just cheering on, but you have to be ready to step in that role because we're not always going to be here, you know, so one day somebody's got to step up. So that's what this man does so great is he sees people's talents and what they can do to fulfill the roles in the church, and he backs them 100%, you know. So that's real important leadership too, is keeping everybody on the same page, because we are all on the same page, you know. But it's so important that when it's almost like that coach, you know, you'll run through a wall for that coach if he believes in you. The church is no different. If the pastor believes in you, well, you'll do anything the pastor asks you to do in the church or during the service or whatever, because the love's there that what has been built. So I think we really have that here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Too. I
think the congregation really thrives on the leadership's behind them, which gives them confidence. But we got confidence in also our congregation, you know, because it's not, I mean, the pastor's not what makes the church.
No,
it's the congregation that makes the church, you know. It's just our job as leaders to be obedient and just kind of keep all that in line and listen to the Spirit, you know.
It's really about like a ball team.
Yeah, it really is.
You know, you have that star running back, star quarterback that a lot of people see. But at the end of the day, they ain't what they are without the rest of the team.
Right.
Blocking, you know, and all this stuff. So it takes everybody, man. Everybody.
And it is so important to let somebody know that what they're stepping into is important for this church, even in their lives, because, you know, they may not work in this church, but they may build like Jason Litton, the ministry that he built at coal mines. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I mean, it's hard to tell how many lives they've touched. Oh, absolutely. And they're not even under a roof of a church. They're at a coal mines job. You know? So, you know, when you see somebody that's got a calling in their life and God's telling you to help mentor that person, it is so important because you don't know what that person is going to be. And you're just doing a little bit what the Lord's gave you to do, and then he's going to do the rest. Mm-hmm. But there's a starting point there. And he chose you to be that starting point to tell that person that, you know, what they're doing is important for the kingdom.
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing I love about you guys too is you don't just, you know, pull somebody into their calling and then just turn them loose. You know, you're always there for guidance and, you know, helped me out tremendously throughout my walk. And I said, I just love having you guys around. I really do.
We love being here.
I just love this place.
Yeah.
Love this place.
You know, I've sat back and watched Aaron. Aaron does that real well.
Yeah.
Like Andrea singing. I believe you was the one to talk to her and getting up and singing.
Yeah.
And maybe, and even Zach, back when Zach first started preaching, I remember him come say, I'm going to give Zach my night. I'm going to let him, I think it was Zach, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I've seen some of our other ministers pick up that too, like Jeff Vance.
Yeah.
I've always said that Jeff Vance has really got a pastor quality about him because he really truly wants everybody to work and try to help them be the best that they can be. So I really don't doubt if Jeff Vance don't pastor someday.
I can see that.
Yeah, he's a very loving man, and his wife too, Sarah. They're just both
and very approachable.
Yeah,
yeah.
That means a lot too. You have that quality. Have to be approachable for your congregation.
Yeah. You know? It's funny, me and Aaron was just talking about this coming over here.
Yeah.
That I don't doubt that if we don't open another church, which we talked about that.
We have talked
You've
about
been
that
looking.
I did. I looked for you.
I told Aaron, I'm just waiting for God to show where this needs to take place because we've got so many ministers here. We got like 14 ministers, and we got other people coming. Yeah. I mean, we've got other young men and women that have professed their call. They just ain't like, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. So when you have all this many ministers, man, I'm sitting there thinking, God, you're gonna move us.
Yeah,
you're gonna move us to the different places. And I told Aaron, I don't that we don't open up another church somewhere, and a handful of these ministers will go run.
Yeah,
and it's awesome to have that many people hungry. Mm-hmm. They're hungry. They're striving to find their calling.
Right.
That's awesome too.
Yep.
Well, next question I got is, there's a lot of people needing guidance in today's time, and a lot of people come to you guys. That's as a pastor. I mean, that's kind of one of y'all's callings. To help lead your flock. So my question is, with everyone coming to you for guidance, how do you maintain your personal devotion in life and your spiritual growth? And second part to that is, how do you protect your personal life from the demands of the ministry?
Yeah, that's a really great question because there's times it is hard, but you got to have that alone time with the Lord at times because you do. I mean, there's some services I know he's exhausted.
Yeah. I
mean, he's prayed for 15, 18 people and he's preached that day.
Yeah.
And then that is a lot off of you, but like with me, luckily where I work, I get a lot of in between locations that I got to drive to. So I put on K-Love or I'll get on YouTube and play it through my speakers and one of my favorite ministers on YouTube. So that alone time almost fills you up. Mm-hmm. You got to have that time to get away from everything to where it's you and him to where you can talk. And the second part of that question is that you have to take time for yourself.
Yeah.
You have to.
Got to.
Yeah. One little illustration I'll use real quick is like when we was building this building and we was on this building a lot. So it come to a point where at 7:00 in the evening, I was leaving the building. I was picking my tools up. I was going home. Mm-hmm. You got to make time with your wife and with your kids. And when we would come in here and work on Saturdays at times, I would be here early, like at 6:30, 7 a.m. But at noon, I was leaving because I was going to go do stuff with my family. So you got to have a time to get away from it, to also with the Lord, but also you got to have balance with your family and this because it will consume you.
Yeah. Because
you're dedicated to it and you see the calling here. But at the same time, it's a fine line sometimes, but you have to have that time to yourself. You have to.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Even though we're busy up front praying for people, I still get what I need to get.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even with messages and stuff like that, and God's still pouring messages in us, a lot of times he uses the congregation to give the pastor the next message.
Oh yeah. So
even though I'm with you, I'm still getting poured into. And that's another good thing about having so many preachers. If you're not preaching all the time like most pastors do, and you've got other congregation members that are minister, you're still getting preached to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even though they may be young preachers.
Right.
man, they're still pouring into me, and they're still pouring into Aaron.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and Taylor. So I get a lot of my messages by the messages that you all, you know, they preach. So
here lately, I've got a lot of my messages through praise and worship. Why it's going on?
Yeah.
It's like gave me a title or gave me a word to think about, you know, and
that's crazy. Yeah. I've always loved music, and like I never been a big reader, and so most of the scripture that I know has come from listening to worship songs, and not even realizing that it's scripture until somebody preaches it, and then I told China that one time. I was like, oh, that's where that comes from. I mean that's where I get most of mine from.
Yeah, that's how you know you listen to good music, right? And it's the word. As far as taking that is probably one of the hardest things, Shane, about being a pastor, is still trying to make time for your family. Mm-hmm. You just got to do it. Mm-hmm. And having, even though I'm pastor, these two assistant pastors, man, listen, these two guys could go pastor anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
And they're really like pastors here. I mean, I think in a lot of churches, the assistant pastor don't get that role. Mm-hmm. But these guys, literally, I can walk away from this, and these guys can pastor this place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that allows me and allows each of us to go take time with their family.
Yeah.
As long as there's one of them there to cover it. I fully trust these two guys that if something should arise, they're going to take care of business.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So, but you definitely got to take time for your kids. And Steve Ramey told me that a long time ago. You still got to take time for your kids.
Yeah, that's important.
They're only here once.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So,
and that's one good thing about having assistant pastors. I've seen people, and I know you don't have somebody that. A pastor he might be by himself. He may not see somebody in his congregation that can do the job, but still, you got to groom somebody to help you. You know what I mean? You can't do it all by yourself. And having them two to lean on and lean back and forth on each other, like he's talking about, I mean, it's awesome that, if I can't make it that day, I know that, it's not like you're letting the church down because something's popped up on you, that everything's going to be taken care of,
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one thing about it. I mean, I just love this place, man. There's something about, I mean, if the board kicked me out tomorrow, I ain't going nowhere. I might sit in the back or something, but I'm not going nowhere. You know what I mean?
You'll be mad, but not too mad.
I'm fully invested here, unless God calls me somewhere.
Right.
But under my own decision, I mean, even if they told me, hey, we're going to go elsewhere with it, I say, hey, there's no hurt feelings here, buddy. I'm not going nowhere.
Yeah.
There's still work to do here.
I'll say this too. Our wives are really involved too.
I'm sitting here thinking I would love to have Marsha and Lorena on here as well to get their perspective on this question as well.
Yeah, maybe you ought to do a part two, pastors' wives.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. But without them, Lord of mercy, man.
And you know what? Gosh. They all three work good together too.
Yeah.
Rena and Sarah and Marsha. I mean, they really, it's an awesome jail that he's put together because even our wives work good together, and that's important.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it has to be.
It has to be.
If you don't flow good together, it's going to show throughout the church as well.
Yeah.
And I think that you three, your wives, I mean, it's definitely ordained by God because everything is just falling into place for our church, and it's just going so well right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it says a 3-strand, cord.
It's not easily broken.
Not easily broken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'll say this about our wives too. All three of our wives don't care one bit to say something. No, you don't need to do that. Yeah. Or yes, now you need to do that. So, that's a big help too. You can't just have a yes wife that just does everything that you want to do. You got to have somebody there that'll tell you, no, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. So they're involved in this a lot.
Yeah.
It's just not like they're our wives and they're part of this, and they all three work hard and they have a lot of wisdom, and we take their opinions valuable. Mm-hmm. When they tell us something that, hey, watch for this, no matter which one it is, we all talk about it, and half the time we all 6 of us together talk about it. So they're heavily involved here in this operation for sure.
Well, and they all three got their ministry.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Marcia sings in the praise team, Lorena ministers, Sarah ministers.
Yeah.
I mean, so they've been going to church just as long as we have.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So they know what church is supposed to be like, and they know what the call of God looks like too. So we got to have them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, moving on. I think the next question is, it happens in every church, no matter where you go. Unfortunately, it's a common occurrence, but there's always conflict, some sort of conflict that is in the church. And I'm just curious, what is your approach? Like when there is conflict in the church, what is your approach to resolving the issues?
Well, if it's between two people, you got to stay neutral and listen to both sides.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, a lot of the conflicts, if you can present it to people this way, that if the Lord came back right now, would this matter? 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you,
it don't.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be having this problem. You know what I'm saying? But there are times that, listen, anytime in church, and this may sound kind of harsh, but it's the truth. Anytime in church, you're going to have some people that ain't on board
Yeah.
with the way God's moving the church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the Bible speaks about having people that cause discord in the church. And there will be people that will do that. And I think he says warn them once, warn them twice, and then after that, you move on. They move to wherever they need to go. But you have to remove that sickness, and I'm going to put it as a sickness in your church because it'll destroy it.
Yeah.
So I know Jesus is all about love, and he truly is, but he's all about order too.
Right.
So even though we're Pentecostal, they still got to be ordering things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we got to love all the people in here. We got to treat everybody right, you know, but you got to deal with them problems when they arise.
Yeah.
And me and him both was raised by a pastor that did. So.
And I think also too, even on the leadership side of it is like when you catch wind that there's something going on, I don't hesitate. I call this man or I talk to this man. Taylor does the same thing. Like
Get ahead of it early.
We don't let it lie there. I mean, we address it pretty quick amongst the three of us.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we never want, I know myself, I don't never want the other two to be blindsided by something that I know 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, and Taylor's that way too. I mean, I don't know how many times he's pulled us in the office and, hey, this is going on. This is what I heard, you know. So I think in the leadership part of it, you need that. You know, the board needs to be made aware of things going on that's happening that way.
I'll say this too, Shane. There are times you got to pick your battles wisely as pastor. Like, I really, when it comes to like conflicts in the church, look and see if it's affecting the whole church or if it's just affecting this individual or these two individuals. So a lot of times you really got to pick your battles wisely. A lot of times them things will work themselves out, or if somebody keeps doing things that are not quite right, just an individual.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times you go have a talk with them, but if they keep doing it, a lot of times you got to just pick your battles wisely and say, is this worth it? Is it worth addressing too? So there's that part of it too. When it comes to addressing conflicts, like harshly in that, you know, way, make sure it's affecting your whole church before you do that.
Yeah.
And sometimes he handles it himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because like I can remember one incident that occurred, and we was like, "Gosh, how are we going to handle this?" This is just whenever they brought me on. So him and Taylor's been pastoring longer than I have. So I can't remember exactly well, but we were worried about it. You know, how are we going to deal with this? How are we going to approach this? And time we just kind of waited about a week. God worked it out.
Yeah.
So we didn't even have to do nothing there. And I think we all learned something that day that said, hey, sometimes when you just step back, I don't know how many, and he's done that several times here, ain't he?
Yep.
When we've had stuff pop up.
Don't jump the gun.
Like the human side of us is like, I'm going to go address that situation right now, you know, take care of it.
Right.
But no, we was kind of patient about it and kind of talked about it, and God took care of it. And we didn't have to say a word, you know, so we learned right there that let him work sometimes.
Well, I will say you three do an excellent job at it. I don't know if I'm just oblivious to a lot of things that go on, but I rarely ever know of any conflict going on in our
There's some
church.
sleepless nights sometimes.
Listen to y'all talk.
We really don't have a lot of conflict in this church.
No, we don't.
I mean, you'll have something that arises every so often that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes dealing with it, it can be pretty tough. Like you have to make some very hard decisions. You know what I'm saying? So, but on the most part, we don't have a lot of conflict.
That's good.
You know, so
We've been very blessed here.
Next question I have is, you see a lot of mega churches and stuff like that, and that's how a lot of people define success. And I just want to know how you all define success in your ministry, because I know that's really the least of y'all's worries as far as how it looks. But
I'm going to take you back to the first question you asked. When you see somebody's calling.
Yeah.
My success as a pastor is your success as a deacon.
Yeah.
Or at doing podcasts.
Right.
Or all these 14 ministers. If they're being successful, I'm being successful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I feel about that.
Oh yeah. Like especially people that you've been blessed to mentor. God could have had anybody mentor that person, or have you approach people like like he's talking about that first question. But when you watch them people start to be prosperous in the fruits of what they are doing, you almost feel like a proud papa, that you was able to.
God gave you a little part.
Be a part of that.
Yeah. God gave
Even
you
though if it was just a kind word or help them get the information, and then when you watch them people flourish in what God called them to do, it's almost like, it's such a blessing that that God used you to help water that a little bit, which he gets all the credit, but he could have used anybody, but for that situation, like, he chose us or chose you to do something, and to watch them flourish is such a blessing.
It's kind of like the same thing, Shane, whenever you're dealing with a lost man. Aaron kind of talked about this on the way over here too. You're trying to catch somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, we're fisher of men. That's what Christ told us to be. And you've had them instances where you've really worked on somebody, trying to introduce them to the Lord, and then they finally get saved, and that you had a small part in that.
Yeah.
I mean, you caught that fish. You know what I'm saying? So that man. So it's the same way with pastoring when you recognize calls and stuff like that, and you get to see the fruits of that. We was talking about Freddie Markham here on the way over here. Aaron's lived a Christian life in front of him. They worked together, and buddy, all of a sudden this past year, he's just came in and got saved.
Yeah.
And his life has been completely transformed.
Transformed quick. Man.
Yeah. So, that's
been awesome to watch it.
I told Aaron on the way over here, I said, I may have been preaching that day that he got saved, but buddy, that's a fish that you caught.
Yeah.
That's a man that you caught, because he wouldn't be here in this church if you hadn't lived that light in front of him. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Another question I got, I guess I probably should have led off with this. I know we kind of know your story about how you got called into ministry, but how hard was it for you to step into that, going from just being a preacher to God calling you to be a pastor and you taking on that role?
I just don't think you could do that successfully without actually being called. And I think it's where a lot of the mistake comes. You got to remember, I preached for a long time. I can remember, I was blessed to be around my grandfather after church. Even when I was a young preacher, after church, I'd go sit with him at the house, and I'd get to see all the things that he was going through, the good and the bad. And I can remember sitting thinking, even though I'm a preacher, I thought I'd never want to be a pastor.
Yeah.
Because just the things that he had to deal with, I thought, I don't ever want to be a pastor, So, but it all changed for me about 4 years ago. Just the call on my life from evangelism to being a pastor changed. And whenever he changed that. My preaching changed. Everything changed. The way I looked at people, the way I looked at you, the way I looked at everybody else.
Your heart changes.
It changes. And I just don't think you can successfully do that unless he calls you to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think you preached a message on that once. Never say never.
Yep. Never say never. Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't even want to be a preacher.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. Wasn't like something I was like, yeah, I want to be a preacher. I wasn't striving for that. You know what I mean? I kind of felt like it was almost dumped on me. You know, because I ran for 2 years probably. Didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And scared to do it. And I never would have dreamed I would have been a pastor or part of a leadership of a church. I had a few little opportunities here and there to step in them rows, but I'm like, I ain't stepping into that. You know what I mean? But I was kind of, with the same discussion, my best scenario is with that. Anytime that you're going to step in, do work for the Lord, it's almost like a door and walking into a different room. And the door's there. As long as you're not willing to accept it and open up the door, you'll never receive what's on the other side of that door. That's even like with what are you being called in to do. So you have to make a decision that I'm going to do this. You know what I mean? Then once you make that decision that I'm going to do this and you step over that, he will equip you.
Yeah.
Things that I thought I never couldn't do as being a helpmate to him, the Lord equipped me to do that. You know what I mean? But I didn't have that until I was willing to say, okay, I'll do it for you,
Right.
But once I said that, then I felt I'm like him. There's like a transformation happening in me, even in my preaching, even how I approach people, even how I see people, and even the willingness to want to be there for people really went out of the roof. I loved people before and everything, but it's almost your compassion changes for people when you step in them rows.
I'll say this too. Really, me and him got called about the same time. In all honesty, before we became pastors here, we actually sat down at our kitchen table.
Yeah.
We knew.
Yeah.
We knew that we was
going to go start somewhere else.
We was going to start a church somewhere if it wasn't here.
Yeah.
So we had already sat down at my kitchen table, and my wife pulled out a notebook. It wasn't just me and him; it was our wives too. Pulled out a notebook, and we started writing out a plan.
Yeah.
Well, I think I speak for all of our church. I'm glad it worked out that you guys are here.
This is where it was at.
Yeah.
This is where it was at. Man, it's just been a blessing. My goodness. If he took me away from it tomorrow, I could just say I've been one blessed man.
Yeah.
God took 3 men, and we've done good at it. We really truly have.
I agree with that.
Yeah, we've done.
And it's kind of awesome too, because even like talking about tailoring this equation we got, all three of us are so different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Our personalities, like even things we like to do, it's totally different, you know, and even our preaching's totally different. Our styles are and everything, but it's awesome how the Lord has just like intertwined us and like brought us together.
Yeah.
Even we all even have different views on things, but at the end of the day, it's like one thing I love about working with them two guys, there's no pride there. There's no arrogance. There's no I'm bigger than you, none of that it's really a truly common love for one another, and we all three understand that that's what it takes to make this place grow. You know what I mean? I mean, like, it's just really, truly how it amazes me of like how tight that us three really are.
Yeah.
And you have to have that,
Yeah, I can remember back when I first become pastor, I'd have different preachers come to me and say, "I'll never work. Three of you, like that. They'd be like, don't have two assistants. You're going to have problems." But that's been the total opposite. It's really made it work.
Yeah,
it has,
because there's things that Taylor can do, and we can't. We're unable to do that, And there's things that he does, and there's things that I do, but we all know our role, and we all know our lane, and but. It's like NASCAR. When you got to get in line and draft a while, we know how to do that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we work good as a team together. We really do.
I'm so glad you guys touched on that, because that was actually one of the questions that I had just come to my mind and I forgot about it is how three of you make things work so well. So I'm glad you all touched on that because I mean, it seems like it's so smooth with you three.
It is. I mean, I think it's truly smooth. It is on my part and what I see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, that's all the questions I have. Is there anything else that you two would like anybody else to know about pastors and why it's important to have?
I think we've kind of covered some of that in there. Don't ever do it unless you're called to do it.
Right.
I'll just tell you that right now. Don't do it. Because make sure that calling's sure before you do it, or it ain't going to work. People say, well, I want to be a pastor. I want to be a pastor. I mean, I hear that from young preachers, and I'm sitting there thinking,
And you really have to have an open mind about it too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't be like stuck in your ways. And this is how, I mean, you really have to you have to value other people's opinion when they do give you, try to give you advice and try to tell you this is, and you got to take in all that consideration. I know I've been around pastors before to where they're so strict that their congregation can't grow.
Yeah.
And like we'll go back to that one question, how he talks about, we have 14 ministers here, and you say, well, how's that work? Well, we allow each one of them to get up in the pulpit and have their time. You have to have that.
Right.
You have to let your congregation be able to grow and show their fruit.
I'll say this too. There have been times when it comes to that right there with the 14 that we've reached out to other churches, like other pastors, like being an evangelist and stuff is really let me get to know a lot of different pastors.
Yeah.
So it's letting me reach out to other pastors and say, hey, I got 14 ministers here. If you need a preacher, here you go.
Yeah.
A lot of these preachers get to go to other places and preach and stuff too.
And we know because we experienced that at Silver Creek. There was 12 or 13 preachers at Silver Creek at one time. So we know that time is short.
Yeah.
It can happen any time where this one gets called to that church. This one's going pastor there, or this person needs preachers. They're going to go. So that number can dwindle to 6 or 7 pretty fast because we witnessed that once.
Yep.
Yep.
We
was part of that.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's almost like God stirred the fishing hoe up and made the fish go out other parts of the river,
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We got 14 ministers here. I'm just waiting for him to just say, all right, let's go over here and take some of them and put them right there.
Yeah.
Let me do my work with them, So, been a good podcast, bud.
Y'all got anything else?
That pretty much covered.
I just like to say it was an honor to be part of this.
Glad to have you.
Yeah. And I'm proud of you, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're flourishing.
Yeah, this is where you.
Yeah, it's really it's honor. It's an honor to sit at this table and watch you work.
Yep,
it really is.
Do a good job.
Definitely have you back on here too.
Yeah. Anytime y'all want me. Yep.
We was going to do a fellowship one time, huh?
Yeah, we was going to do it at the
at the men's retreat.
Was that probably the third men's retreat?
Yeah,
we was going to try to do one. Yeah.
It was late that night.
Yeah, it didn't work out, but we did end up doing a fellowship podcast, and it was a good one.
Yep.
Well, if that's everything you got, Pastor Aaron, you care to pray us out?
Yeah, I can do that. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you, Lord, for this time to be together, Father, to share our thoughts. And we just hope and pray, Father, Lord, that the people that hear this, Lord, this can be encouraging them, Father. We know we've been there before when there's churches that struggle, and there's times that we've been in them churches where it is struggling, Father. But, Lord, if we just hang on to you and have you to lead us, Father, Lord, and we just hope that this podcast will keep growing, keep blessing the men that's part of this podcast, Father, Lord. Help them flourish through this and the people that it will feed. And just let me pray, Father, and amen.
Amen.
Good podcast, guys.